Hi, this is Tammy Wood from Sossy Outdoors. Today I'm going to show you a wonderful appetizer. We're going to be using venison today and creating venison wontons. Now, most of the time wontons are made with pork, shrimp. I find that especially if you have a buck that might be a little more ruddy than normal and you're trying to get that kind of musty scent away from your venison meat, this type of a recipe is great for it because it's got lots of different flavors, lots of different masking components. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you my buck. He was a very chubby buck. So there's quite a bit of fat in here compared to a normal venison buck that you would get. Usually it's quite lean. So what I would do is cut in 50% of either pork butt that's been chopped up or just a ground pork to my wonton. But anyways, we have 2 cups of ground venison here. And the next thing we're gonna add is 1 cup of prawns. Just a nice coarse chop on these prawns because you wanna be able to taste it. And add them to your bowl. About a half a cup of fresh cilantro to your mix is good. I love the smell of cilantro, it's amazing. I always put cilantro or fresh basil in my wontons. Today we're gonna be doing deep fried. But this recipe, you can also boil these wontons, steam them in water, take them out and make just a nice sauce with rice wine vinegar and soy sauce and a little bit of sesame oil. We're gonna put 2 teaspoons of ginger. We're gonna add about a quarter cup of rice wine vinegar. We're gonna add about a quarter cup of KIKKOMAN soy sauce. And then we're gonna add some toasted sesame oil. This has gotta be my favorite oil that I use. I haven't found any sesame oil that I like better, to be honest. I'm gonna add some chopped scallions. It just always adds a nice little flavor. Pop that in there. Boom, just like that. Already nice and colorful. We haven't even started digging in yet. We're gonna add 1 egg as a binder. As I talk, what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix this with our hands. I find that when it comes to something like this, I like to mix with my hands. You can always wash and sanitize your hands after. I've already washed my hands, so I'm good to go. So we're gonna give this a good mix. You're just gonna kind of squish it between your fingers. Oh, you know what? I forgot one thing. I always put a little bit of brown sugar in it, just to offset the acidity of the rice wine vinegar. Just a little bit, maybe a tablespoon. Let's give it a nice mix. Now, optimally, what would be the great thing to do with this is to leave it overnight and allow all of those flavors to marry together, so tomorrow morning you'd just be like, oh, unctuous. Is that a good word? Unctuous? The next step to our venison wontons is the wrapping. Now, it might be difficult for a big man with big hands to wrap a tiny wonton. I actually did a team building exercise for a bunch of corporate workers. And one of the things that we did was wonton making, and there was 5 teams of men trying to wrap these little baby wontons, and it was actually quite funny. It was fun to watch. I enjoyed it. But you can also use your pinkies, sort of, I guess, but anyways, you'll do just fine. So the wonton wrappers you can get at most grocery stores. Usually they keep them in the produce aisle. I would not spend the time to make this by hand, simply because there's just so many, and every one of them has to be powdered with cornstarch so they don't stick together. One of the main things to remember is not to overfill your wonton, because that's one of the biggest problems with them breaking open, is if you fill them up too much. So you're gonna take some of your filling, maybe a teaspoon, teaspoon and a half at the most. You're gonna take your one end to another end, and you're gonna make a triangle. So pretty simple so far. Little triangle. You can even try to keep it like that, because some wontons that are deep fried do look like this. You could actually keep it like that if you wanted. But I like to make it so it's got a flower on the top. So keeping my 2 fingers on the top of the point of the triangle, I just grab from one side and just start folding. And folding and folding, just go from one end to the other, and then I pinch it like that. And when that goes into the deep fryer, it just blossoms. And everybody loves the crunchy bits of this wonton wrapper. And the inside is just a big pop of flavor. When I do cooking shows across BC, this is one of the crowd favorites. They love this. And I've actually made these for weddings and for, get-togethers at friends' house. It doesn't really take that long once you get the hang of it. It doesn't matter if you're not all perfect. They're gonna disappear before anybody has a chance to critique how uniform they all are. One thing that I wanna do is give a shout out to my girlfriend Karen Carruthers for making me this really awesome camo chef jacket. I think it's awesome. Thank you so much, and for doing it in such quick notice. This is just a prototype of things to come. I will be wearing camo chef jackets, but they'll be a little bit different. It's a surprise, so you'll have to keep watching to see what I'm wearing. When you put them in the deep fryer, the oil is at 350 degrees, and you can tell when the wontons are ready when they float to the top and they're a nice golden brown. Now when you take them out, you don't want to serve them right away, otherwise you'll burn the mouths off your guests because they're 350 degree little balls of fire. So make sure that when you take them out, you let them rest. Always let them rest. And always as the host, always try one first before you give it to your guests. Number one, to make sure that the temperature is okay, and number two, to make sure they taste good. You want to make sure that they taste good. So I have a really nice plate of wontons ready for the deep fryer. I don't like to crowd the deep fryer, so only put in maybe 8 at a time at the most. And that way, if you have extra wonton mix, you can continue to make wontons while those ones are deep frying. And by the end of it, you'll have some of them cooled off, and you'll be able to put them on a nice plate like this. I'm gonna serve mine with sweet chili sauce. Like I said, you can always do a rice wine vinegar with soy sauce and a little bit of toasted sesame oil. It also tastes very good. So we're gonna throw these in the deep fryer. And some deep fryers are bigger than others. Mine's pretty big, so I can fit quite a few in my deep fryer as opposed to like a more narrow one. So we just pop them in, and right away you can start watching the wontons flour. And don't be disappointed if some of them open up. Sometimes it happens. They'll just be a little more crispier, and your guests will love it anyway because they taste great. So this is the end result of your venison wontons with a nice sweet chili sauce. Got a little bit of spice in there, a little bit of a kick, but not too much. It's just a beautiful, spectacular appetizer to give to your guests. And I actually myself have transformed anti-venison eaters to eating venison after them eating this. You will love it. Thank you so much for joining me today and watching this video. Please like and share the video to all your friends. If there's any recipes that you are interested in, make sure to comment below and we can see if we can make it happen. I love working with different ideas and different types of meats, so just let me know and I'll make it happen. We'll see you soon. I'm a mini portion of that. Hi, this is Tammy from Sossy Outdoors. Today I'm going to show you how to make an amazing appetizer for your guests. This is venison wontons. And there's a beep at my oven right now.